All right, let's get started. Welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. Hope you guys are enjoying the open house so far. Let me introduce myself. My name is James Young, and I'm one of the moderators here in the Strategic Day Trader Room. And I've been day trading for a little over a year now. So yeah, still fairly new, although it doesn't feel that way because of the amount of hours I've been putting into this. It definitely feels like I've been doing it for a lot longer. And what I want to discuss with you today is me starting with zero knowledge of day trading to taking Sammy's mentorship to becoming a moderator and everything in between till today, just some of the lessons I learned during my trading journey. And if you're new to day trading or not, I think you'll find some beneficial information in this lesson. Okay. And if you have any questions along the way, save them for the end and we'll do a little Q&A after, okay? So let's get started. All right, so quick background of myself. Before I got into day trading, I was in the apparel manufacturing business. Me and my wife started that business about 9 years ago. And what we do is we were the wholesalers to retail shops. We focused on women's apparel, like tops and leggings mostly. And my wife pretty much runs the show now. And since June of last year is when I first got into day trading and have been doing it full time since. We also had our first baby last September, and I can't believe he's already turning 1 in a couple of weeks. I mean, that went really quick. He recently took his first steps. He can say a few words now. We're Korean, so he says 엄마 and 아빠, which is mom and dad, and mama, which is food. So he's growing super fast, and I'm fortunate to be able to work from home now and be there to see him grow, right? And some of my hobbies I like outside of trading. I love powerlifting. A lot of people think this sport is about absolute strength, right? Just these big, big guys lifting as much weight as possible. But it's more about relative strength, like how strong are you relative to your body weight? And what I love about it is every time you step on that platform, you're competing against yourself and not the person next to you. It's the only sport I see where everybody cheers for you and nobody wants to see you fail. So it's something that keeps me active and in shape, and it's extremely satisfying when you set personal records. Uh, I'm also a huge fan of movies. Christopher Nolan is my favorite director, so anything by him, I'm pretty much hopping on that hype train. He's got that new one coming out, Tenet, that I was really excited about, but COVID is messing everything up on that. And I love to travel, rather than spending my money on material things. I'm more interested in spending it on experiences. So traveling, experiencing different cultures, trying different foods, and just seeing amazing places is what I'm about. And I also have been reading a lot these days, lots of self-improvement books and trading books mostly. So yeah, that's just a little bit about myself so you guys can know me a little bit better. So how did I get into trading? It all started back in 2017. Me and my wife were doing the apparel thing. And I was looking for a second source of income. I wanted to know how to invest our money, create some cash flow, right? So I looked into real estate and stocks and ended up buying some courses on options trading. So I started learning all the Greeks and different types of spreads you can do, and pretty much was just swing trading with options. And that ended up not going anywhere because, I didn't have anyone to guide me or show me how it's done, right? I didn't personally know anybody that was doing it. I just pretty much watched some videos and was expecting to become profitable. And as you know, it takes much, much more than that, right? So didn't find much success there. Then in April last year, I came across one of Sammy's webinars on his mentorship program for day trading. So not only was he offering the videos, but this was a live event, right? He was willing to trade live with real money. He's teaching in person, and he's pretty much showing you everything he does from A to Z, 1, 2, 3, and beyond, right? So I had to jump on this opportunity, and to be able to connect with other traders that are going to be there, that was another plus, right? Because I didn't know a single person that was doing this. So this was also a way for me to connect with people in the trading world. So in June, I attended the mentorship. And I always have to shout out my wife, Janet, because you have to know at this time, she was about 6 months pregnant, and I was leaving her alone to handle the store all by herself because I was spending thousands of dollars to go to a trading seminar in Chicago for an entire week, knowing very well this hasn't worked out in the past. That kind of makes me look bad, doesn't it? But, not a single negative reaction from her. Like, she was totally supportive and actually encouraging me to go, like as if she knew something, right? So shout out to her. But anyways, so it was in Chicago. It was for an entire week. And this was the first time I day traded. And let me tell you, class was in session because the amount of quality information in that week was just so overwhelming. I mean, the strategies, management, trading psychology, scanning, Sammy's setup for his trading screen, his actual physical desk setup. I mean, every single detail. And the classes were like 10 hours a day of teaching and trading right next to Sammy. And, everybody would have lunch together and learn from each other. It was probably one of the coolest learning experiences I've ever had. And it was a lot of fun. And I honestly wish I can experience it again. But most importantly, it was all making sense to me, right? I wasn't just getting the information, but I was understanding it. And that credit goes to Sammy too, because yes, the information is there, but if you can't convey that information the right way, it doesn't become as useful, right? So Sammy is not only a successful trader, but he's an amazing teacher too. Probably the best teacher I've ever had. No joke. So after the mentorship, I was pretty much hooked. This is something I found passion in, and I wanted to pursue it not just as a second source of income, but as a full-time thing now. And I've been grinding at it ever since. So after the mentorship, I was in the trading room every day and attending every coaching session, always asking questions, posting ideas for feedback, and rewatching videos and reviewing the material. I was studying the gaps list, not just in the morning, but also after the close, right? What did the gaps end up doing and why? Trying to evaluate it, reviewing all my trades for the day and tracking management. I started to scan for gaps pre-market and for potential plays throughout the day. And I wasn't really doing it to bring value to the room, but more for myself to get into the same routine as Sammy and Ifan. I mean, you all heard the saying, right? If you want to be successful, find someone who's at where you want to be and just copy their routine, right? So that's kind of what I was doing. And then in November, I guess I was doing something right because uh, it was about 5 months after the mentorship, Sammy reached out to me and asked me to join his team. And my initial reaction was super happy and shocked that he asked me. It felt like I was in high school and like the hottest girl in the school just asked me out, right? Like me, really? But, at the time, I didn't feel like I was worthy enough. I mean, I was still new. I felt like I had so much more to learn. And plus, I've never done anything like this before, trading live and public speaking and just being put on the spot, right? So my first reaction, I told Sammy that I didn't feel comfortable doing it. So I actually turned it down. But that night, um, I realized that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And this is a chance to accelerate my trading skills. And, you know, when is success ever comfortable, right? So I hit up Sammy the next day, told him I'm in, let's do it. And both Sammy and Ifan have been so helpful to me since day one. I'm still learning something new every day from them, whether it's from talking with them or just something I hear them say on the mic. They just know so much, right? So pay attention whenever they talk because they're always saying something valuable. Okay. And today, here I am. I'm a full-time trader and moderator here in this room. And becoming a moderator has been one of the best decisions of my life because you can watch videos and study your butt off as much as you want, but that's never going to beat experience. You know, there was a time where I felt like I knew enough, like, okay, I think I got it. And after a few rounds of live trading, you quickly realize you actually know nothing, right? There's actually a book that talks about this called The Dip. I think it's by Seth Godin, I believe. So I'm still learning. I'm always trying to improve myself every day, not just for me, but for you guys too, right? It's much more rewarding to me when I see all of us make money. And I'm extremely blessed to have Sammy and Ifan guiding me, mentoring me, and just teaching me how to fish, right? Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So I'm very fortunate to have mentors and the amount of experience I'm getting by moderating. So I'm definitely doing my best because I'm not here to let anybody down, right? Myself, Sammy, Ifan, you guys, nobody, okay? So that's kind of been my journey so far. And through all of the studying and experience, here's what I've learned, what you need to do in order to find success in trading, okay? So I've broken it down to 4 things you need to know how to do if you want to find some success in day trading. Number 1 is know how to scan. Number 2 is pick the right plays. Number 3 is trade management. And 4 is to be adaptable to the market. Okay, let's dive into this. So let's start with number 1, how to know how to scan. We like to trade gaps in here. So scanning for gaps and patterns within those gaps is what you need to know how to do. So first thing in the morning before the market opens, you probably notice some of us posting stocks that are gapping. And what we're doing is we're compiling a list of all the gaps for that day. Okay. So we're scanning for stocks that are gapping a minimum of 2% from yesterday's closing price. Now, the percentage is not really a set rule, but usually anything gapping under that is not significant enough. Now, why are we scanning for just gaps? Because as day traders, we like volatility, right? We want attention and volume in that stock for that day. Because we're in and out of the stock the same day, right? We want movement. We don't want to just get into a stock and have it move a couple pennies the entire day, right? You're going to fall asleep. Let's say you were in Tesla and the next day it dropped 0.25%. Are you going to be worried? Probably not, right? But what if it dropped 10%? Oh, you're going to be paying attention to Tesla that day, right? So gaps create volatility and they create shock value. And as day traders, that's exactly what we want. So know how to scan for gaps. There's tons of gap scanners out there. I just scan for them manually on TOS. And of course, you can use your own trading platform to scan for them. Whatever's comfortable for you. And you should have at least two lists of gaps every morning. One list for stocks that are gapping up and another list for stocks that are gapping down. And you're analyzing and sorting them by your favorites, okay? And you're going to have to set up your platform where you can easily scan through your gaps list throughout the day. Whether that means having multiple monitors with thumbnail charts, which is ideal, or just cycling through them individually, whichever works for you right now. And throughout the day, you should be scanning for even more gaps we have missed in the pre-market, right? And you're scanning for intraday patterns within those gaps. I have over 100 thumbnail charts on two 43-inch monitors that I can just cycle through. And the more you scan and get good at recognizing patterns, the faster you get. Now I can probably scan through 1,000 charts in minutes. Okay. So know how to scan for gaps and intraday patterns because that's how we find the stocks we want to trade. And here's a tip for you. Start with one pattern. Okay. When you're just starting, don't overwhelm yourself and try to scan for every single pattern and strategy all at once. Start with one pattern and get good at that and build from there. In the beginning, every single chart is going to be new faces to you. Okay. But if you focus on a single pattern, just one face, you'll be able to recognize it immediately from the crowd, right? Let's say you're meeting your mom at a concert or something. You would be able to quickly scan through the crowd and find her, right? But what if I gave you a picture of 5 random people to find? It's going to be much more difficult, right? So just start with one pattern that you're good at and go from there. Now, some of us will catch on faster than others, but that's fine, right? Go at your own pace. So know how to scan. Number 2 is pick the right plays. So now that you know how to scan, now you need to know which ones to go after from your scanning, right? So there's only 3 patterns we look to play. Well, technically there's 6, but both sides, right? Long and short. So we have the buy setup, right? The breakout and the climactics. And then what's the short side to it? We got the sell setup, we got the breakdown, and then we got the climactics. Okay. But again, it all starts with the quality of the gap. Okay. And then you look at the quality of the pattern inside that gap. And you look at how clean the setup is. Is your risk to reward worth it? Right? I want to see at least 2 to 1. Does it have momentum? Does it have multiple time frame alignment? How spready is it? These are some of the things you need to be asking yourself. And in the beginning, I made the mistake of focusing more on the intraday pattern and not the gap itself. So if I saw a pretty buy setup, I would look to do it, right? And that's because I wasn't experienced enough to analyze the gaps on my own and have a deeper understanding to it. So that led to a bunch of mediocre plays that don't really move or work out, right? And I got better at it by reviewing the gaps list every day before the open and after the close. So what I would do is I would write down my analysis of the gaps before the open and then match it at the end of the day to see what they actually did. And if it went against my analysis, I would try to see why and be objective about it, right? I can't get into how to actually analyze the gaps today because that's going to literally take hours and hours to do. There is a course on it that Sammy did called the Advanced Gap Strategies, which I still rewatch to this day. And it's probably my favorite course, hands down. Okay, and that goes into great, great detail. So pick the right play. And picking the right play doesn't mean a winning play. Okay, I don't want you guys to get confused between the two. The right play is the play that meets your trading criteria, a trade that follows your methodology, that you know is tested to be consistent and profitable, and it's a trade you're perfectly okay with if you happen to take a loss on it. Why? Because you're not going to win 100% of your trades, right? But you know over a series of these trades, you're coming out with profits in the long run. And that only works if you're picking the right plays. Now, picking the wrong play is getting into anything that steers away from your criteria, right? Seeing something wrong with the play and still getting into it for whatever reason. Like my issue was I didn't fully understand gaps yet, right? and I was getting into trades that might be still extended, not seeing the time frame alignment. And it could even be the execution part of it. Maybe the setup was perfect, but you missed it and now you're chasing it and getting in late. Maybe you're not aware of the spread or using market orders to get into trades or trying to be cute with the stops or whatever it may be, right? So pick the right play that meets your trading criteria and don't settle for anything less. And you do that by knowing how to analyze gaps. All right. Number 3, trade management. Now that you scanned for the plays and you got into the right stock you want to trade, now you need to know how to manage that trade. So the goal with management is to maximize your wins and minimize your losses, right? Much simpler said than done for sure, but this is probably the most difficult part in trading because it deals with your emotion, which is why everyone's management will be different. We can all get into the same play, but in the end, we will all probably have different results. Now, why is that? It's because we all have different personalities and experiences that would reflect in our reactions, right? First time I started trading, I had the most common issue with management, and that's having fear in winning trades and having hope in losing trades. I'm sure you guys heard this before, right? When I'm in a winning play, the second I see it go against me, I get out because I fear I might give back profits. And then in a losing trade, when it's going against me, I would let it play out, hoping that it comes back up to break even at least, right? And what ends up happening? I take the full loss on it. So that led me to taking small profits and even bigger losses. That doesn't sound like a good business plan, does it? So that's the most common issue. And that's because we're trading with emotion. Now, it's okay to feel emotion. We're all human, right? What's not okay is to let our emotions define our trading. So whether that's affecting your management or it's revenge trading, settling for less because you're bored, or maybe chasing plays because you don't want to miss out, this is what you need to be aware of and be able to control. So then the question is, how do we take the emotion out of managing trades? How can we create a system to manage for us that's tested to do better than managing on the fly? And the answer is tracking your plays. Okay? So here's what you do. You write out a management plan. It could be more than one. The more, the better. Okay? So here's mine. This is just the basic foundation of my management. I actually started with Efon's plan. I know he showed his earlier, and I revised it as time went on. You guys can screenshot this and do the same if you want. So what you do is all the plays you take, you track them on a spreadsheet. So write down where you entered, where you got out, okay? And then at the end of the day, go back and track each of the plays with the management plan you write up. So you'll have one with your actual entries and exits, and then another set of exits that follows your management plan that you're testing. And after a large enough sample size, if you see that the management is doing better than your actual trading, then you know you're on the right track. So now you have this systematic management that you know does better than managing in the moment, right? And this never stops, okay? You're always looking to improve your management and you're constantly testing and adjusting your management. So when you're constantly tracking and adjusting, what you are doing is maximizing your profits and minimizing your losses, right? Just one step at a time. Does that make sense? Now, do I always follow the plan every single time? No, I'm guilty of letting my emotions get the better of me sometimes. And guess what? Almost every single time, it would have been better to just stick with my management. So this is probably the most important and most difficult because it takes a lot of time and effort and discipline. and experience to get down. But this is crucial stuff. Okay. And number 4, and final key to finding success in trading is to be adaptable to the market. The market environment is always changing, and you as a trader needs to be able to adjust to it. That's why it's also important to have multiple strategies. If you see Sammy, he has his day trading, swing trading, and earning strategies, right? So each quarter, you might see a different allocation of capital within those, right? Earnings not working this quarter. Let's lower the capital and reduce the risk on them. Hey, scalps aren't working out. Let's focus more on chart trading. Even if it means no trading at all and preserving your capital is something you should be able to do, right? The market will do what the market does. And what we need to learn is to be able to adapt to its conditions. I remember the first time I learned about scalping was seeing Sammy do it at the mentorship. I didn't know what the heck he was doing, right? And I never scalped a single trade after that, not until March of this year, because that's what was making money. So I was able to capitalize on it and ended up having my best month by far, okay? By making adjustments to the plays I was going after. Because up until then, I was only chart trading. That's the only thing I was interested in. If I told myself I'm just going to continue chart trading and not bother trying the scalps, I wouldn't have made the money I did, right? Now, if I knew what I know today on scalping back in March, I mean, I can only wish. Because at the time, I didn't have the experience that I do now. And actually, I learned that scalping is my favorite thing to do now, right? And I've made my mistakes too. Even when the scalp stopped working, that's what I was still trying to go after with the same aggression, trying to force trades, which led to over trading, right? And I ended up getting hurt because I didn't make the necessary adjustments. I mean, these days you have to really dig for a decent scalp play, right? I mean, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel to find them. Whereas in March, it was like, finding sand at the beach, right? So always be aware of the market and adjust your trading accordingly. Okay. So when you know how to scan, when you know how to pick the right plays, know how to manage those plays, and then be able to adapt with different strategies, you will find success in trading. Okay. So that's my 4 major keys for day trading. And before I end this lesson, I put together a small list of advice for traders, for new traders. Okay. So here it is. First, choose a platform you like. Make sure you like how the charts look. You can read the level 2 screens and just get used to it, right? By paper trading. Get used to executing trades using the hotkeys and do it until you get comfortable with it, where it becomes second nature to you. But as for practicing actual trading, I don't really like using paper trading for that because you tend to trade differently with fake money. So what I would do is just start with a very small risk size. Commissions are free now, so you can risk $5 a trade if you really wanted to, right? But the point is, you want to get the feel of emotion in trading with real money, right? Because if you're getting really good at paper trading and then you just switch over to real money for the first time, you're probably going to have different results. I can almost guarantee it. So I suggest using paper trading to get comfortable with your platform and then using a very small risk size to practice live trading. Okay. And here's a very, very important one. Learn how to read level 2. There's hundreds of videos out there that shows you how. Sammy has a couple of videos of his own. Actually, he did a whole session on it yesterday, right? In the coaching session. But it's important because it shows how spready and liquid a stock is, right? It's also a mandatory tool for scalping. So make sure you check out Sammy's videos or the coaching session if you missed it. He talks like every single detail about it. Okay. And then next, this is something I will always do for the rest of my trading career, is trade in a group setting like this one. If I tried just doing this on my own, who knows how many opportunities I'll miss every day, right? Back to the concert. Let's say you had your entire family and friends with you looking for your mom in the crowd. How much faster, how much more productive would that be, right? So when you have multiple eyes on charts throughout the day looking for the same pattern, is just going to mean more opportunities. Okay. So always trade in a group setting like this one. And finally, track your trades. Having a trading journal and monitoring your progress. I mean, it's going to show you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. Okay. Your day isn't over when the closing bell rings. If you're really serious about trading, what you're doing when the market is closed matters. Are you reviewing trades? Are you testing management? Are you studying gaps? Whatever it is, you have to be looking for ways to improve your performance. Okay. So I'm going to end this by saying wherever you are in your trading journey, I hope some of this information was useful and that it brings you a step closer to success. Okay. So thanks for listening. I'm going to open it up for questions now if you have any. So go for it. All right. All right. So first question. Hey, Lawrence, in trading in a group, is it required to trade in the same platform? No, it's not. So you can use whatever platform you're comfortable with and you can follow along with the ideas or the official plays, but you do not need the same platform as we do. Okay. And remember to leave a question mark so that it highlights the questions. Hey Abu, sometimes trade with $10 to 20. I initially thought I couldn't do that, but it really helped me with the segue from paper trading to real money. Yeah, so exactly. So no commissions now. So you can risk, like I said, little as $5 if you wanted to. Okay. Oh yeah, thanks guys. Yeah. Okay, question from Thomas. Do you look at any fundamentals or news or just the technicals? Yeah, I'm a pure technical analysis. The only way you would look into fundamentals or news is something you're holding for a very long term. Then I would see something of beneficial to use of that. But for day trading here, yeah, I don't really care what the news is or what their earnings are doing, the P&E ratios, none of that stuff. All right. Hey, Mike, with your typical scalp trades, if they're working, do you scale in and out with multiple entries and exits? Yeah. So scalping, you could be trading the same stock. You could be in and out 5 times, right? When you're scalping. So there's multiple entries, there's multiple exits when you're scalping. Okay. Hey, Alan, how to set up a pin chart? Not sure exactly what a pin chart is. Hey, J&J, how heavy are you lifting now? Yeah, so I'm supposed to be competing in the 83 kg class, but I don't really like to cut my weight down, so I compete in the 90 kg. But yeah, my best squat 440, bench is 345, and then deadlift 600. And then, hey Edgar, how and what software do you use for scanning intraday? Yeah, so I use Thinkorswim. That's what I use to scan for all the pre-market gaps, all the intraday patterns, and all the plays and the call outs all come from Thinkorswim. I don't use any other platform. Well, I use TC2002 for swings, but for day trading, just Thinkorswim. Okay. And then question from Trade. How long did it take for you to be profitable? I took about 3 months. Yeah, so for 3 months, I was negative every month. And then after that was my first positive month. And then since then, it's been consistent. Let's see. When scanning gaps, what percentage do you scan up or down? Yeah, so at least a minimum of 2% is what your criteria can be. But it's not necessarily a percentage amount. It's more, exactly where it's gapping to, I should say. But yeah, you want to see at least 2% on the gaps. Okay. And then 1 second, let me turn off this auto scroll so that I don't miss any questions. Okay. Can you explain if and why I was wrong or right to exit my RMBO position at 3010? Looking at 15-minute chart, I had positioned from okay, I'll get to that after, okay? Because I don't have my charts on the screen right now. And then we'll go through it. Okay, Kinzoku? Hey, Tommy, do you do options as well? And if so, do you do it on day trading type basis? No. So I don't do any options at all. I strictly trade the equity stocks. I remember the first time I got into trading earnings, I did use options at first, but I found much more success just doing stocks. Okay. And then question from Alan, how to set up thumbnail charts where the church won't shrink and I can have at least 5 charts in there. I would contact or the whoever your platform provider is, or I'm sure there's a lot of YouTube videos you can watch. Not sure which platform you're using, but their technical support team probably can help you out better there. Hey, Grace James, how do you scan charts? My platform scans stocks. Yeah, so I have, little thumbnail charts to the side of me where I can just type in a symbol on them, or I have a list of stocks that I can scroll through and it'll just populate on my charts. And then that's how you just scan through them pretty much. Yeah, no problem, Shaker. Hey, Darwin, what is that in pounds? Yeah, 83 kg is about like 180, 183, 185 around there. And 90 kg is 198. So under 200 pounds as in terms of body weight is the class I compete in. Hey, Michael, what have been some of your favorite books? Yeah, I would say the mandatory read is Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. That's probably my favorite trading book. So that's for sure. Hey, Ezer, it's 5 times scalping times just a suggestion or it's a rule? Not sure I understand the question there. Hey, Yori, do you know if there's transcript on TOS paper trading? Not sure. Yeah, but TOS paper trading is the one I've used before. And the beauty about the TOS is they have this on-demand feature where you can go back to any day or time and the market will run on that specific time that you go to. So if you want to review a trade, you can actually go to that stock and the time you took the trade and see what you did wrong or try to redo it, right? And study it that way. And then, hey, trade, I answered that question. Okay, Andrew, what broker do you use for trading? Yeah, so I use Thinkorswim mainly for charts. I use Sterling for my level twos, and I also have E-Trade for just a secondary brokers because Thinkorswim doesn't have a lot of good short list. So things that are hard to borrow, I try them on E-Trade. Okay. Hey, Amy, do you sell stop limit or stop loss? Okay, so whenever you get into a trade, you never want to be using market orders. Okay, so always use stop limit or limit orders when you're getting into a trade, and when you're exiting a trade, a stop market. Okay, stop market is what I do. And then do you scan, question from Andy, do you scan for 10, 20% gaps, pre-market gaps? Yeah, for sure. So anything above 2%, it's going on the list, and I'm going to see what it's doing, and I'm going to study it to see if it's worth looking at for the open, right? Yeah, so there's no limit to the big ones. It's just a minimum of 2% usually. Hey, Kinzoku, so after 3 months, you never had another losing month? No, I have not. Yeah. Hey, Graves, James, how do you scan charts? My platform scans stocks only. Yeah, not sure what you mean exactly. If you just type in a symbol on a chart, the chart should populate, right? Hey Steve, how do you use level two? I know this toss level two is not very good. Yeah, that's why I actually got Sterling just for the level twos because I had a hard time reading the level two on toss. Let me show you. So hold on a second. Is that coming up there? Okay, I don't know why it's not coming up. Yeah, so I used Sterling because I couldn't read the level two on toss as well. And then question from Srinvas. How much were you down in the first 3 months in dollars? How much did it take it to make it back? I don't even remember. I mean, it wasn't much, like I've never blown my account, right? I've never had like I don't have any crazy stories where no, I don't. I'm pretty conservative and yeah, so I don't even remember exactly, to be honest. Hey, Ezra, why do you think options are so popular and yet none of the leaders here play them? Just curious. I mean, it's not that they don't work, right? It's just what works for you, right? I mean, I've tried options. Now, if I had someone who knows as much as Sammy does about options and then he was mentoring me, I'm pretty sure I would have found success in it, right? But, I prefer the stocks. It's much more easy. I mean, with all the Greeks, there's just too much to consider when you're trading options, right? You got the time decay, you got the delta, you got the gamma that you all have to, study to see all the changes. I mean, it's just I like day trading. So I mean, if you prefer your options, that's totally, not it's not that we're against it. It's just stocks is what works for us. All right. And CW, yes, I answered that. Hey Frank, can you share your TOS setup? Yeah, so like my you mean my trading, like how I have my trading screen set up? Okay, let's see. 1 second. Okay, I'll show you after. Okay, I don't know why. I'll show you when I come back on the mic. Okay, I can't switch the screen here for some reason. All right. And then all right, we got I'm just gonna go for a few more questions, and then I'm gonna let Sammy come on. All right. Is this video being recorded? Yes. And hey, is there a limit to how many times you can scalp a single trade? No. I don't limit myself. If it's there, if it's good, if the setup is there, I'm gonna do it. Okay. Hey Andrew, out of the brokers you mentioned, only E-Trade is commission free, correct? No, Thinkorswim and E-Trade, or TD Ameritrade and E-Trade are both free. And then the Sterling, I'm with Centerpoint Securities. They are not. All right. And then question from Mike. If you use the ladder on TOS to enter a trade, isn't it stop market by default? I change it manually every time. Yeah, so I actually use hotkeys when I use the active ladder window. And then what you can do is set up the stop market for your trails, right? Your stops. So to get into a play, I use all my hotkeys. Well, I actually use it to get out too, but if you want to put some hard stops on there, that's an easy way to put it through the active ladder. And then, hey CM, have you also tried DAS? Yeah, I've tried the trial. I prefer Sterling. It's a little bit different. I prefer Sterling. But yeah, I would say they're the most identical, DAS and Sterling. Out of all the pre-market scan, what criteria do you use to select a stock to play at the open? Yeah, so that's a pretty long discussion. There's a lot of criterias we look at when we're looking at a gap, but pretty much we're looking at, see, I don't know why. Are you guys seeing the marker, the blue line on your screen? Does it show me writing? Hold on. Yeah, no, right. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with this right now. But yeah, that's a whole nother discussion, or that's a hour and hours. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, some of these I answered. Yeah, Trading in the Zone I like is probably my favorite book because it talks about the trading psychology of it, right? That's something that you can teach patterns and all that, but psychology, that's something you have to find in yourself, right? And that book helps you a lot with that. All right. And then what is my end goal in trading? I never really thought about that. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not putting a roof on that, right? So sky's the limit. Hey, Ron, when shorting is unavailable on TOS, where do you borrow from? Yeah, so I also have E-Trade that I use, but I mainly use TOS. And then do options even have charts for option prices? Yeah, so you're going to be monitoring the Greeks if you're doing options. And then, I mean, charts is charts. That's what you're analyzing off of, right? Whether it's stocks, whether it's options or Bitcoin, whatever, futures, it all applies the same when you're looking at charts. And then, hey, Wayne, for a good trader, what's a typical max drawdown percentage of account value? And is it realistic to having losing days, but generally never having losing weeks. I mean, I've had losing weeks. I've had losing days. So yeah, I mean, it happens. I mean, for me, I would say I still have losing days, I do still have losing days. What are you reading specifically on level 2? Yeah, that's you can check out Sammy's coaching session from yesterday. It should be available somewhere. He goes into great detail on that. All right. Okay. And then, yeah, the platform that are free that I use is TD Ameritrade and E-Trade. Okay. All right. Hey, James, can you make a living or are you still learning? Uh, I mean, I'm making money, every month, but is it where I'm satisfied with it? No. So, so both, right now I'm not really looking to make a lot of money and, not looking to retire. I'm trying to learn here, right? Just as like you guys. I'm still in my first year, right? I'm trying to just gain that experience. So even when I lose, like, yes, it sucks, but after I look at it as sort of cost of experience, right? So now that just makes me much better. Now I know what not to do, right? Now I know the feeling of this or that. But I mean, yeah, I am making money. All right. All right, guys, that's gonna do it. Let's see, 1 second. Let's see who should come on. All right. Oh, thank you so much, Marlene. Yeah, thanks, Andy, P Trader, Blazer. Yeah, thanks, Amber. Yeah, Caroline. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been awesome. Thank you guys for listening. Um, yeah, I'm gonna still be around, and I know you guys. I wasn't able to answer a couple of the other questions. So when I come back on the mic, or if I do, let me know, and then I'll answer for you guys. All right. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. I'll talk to you guys. Hopefully, if not today, tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Sammy will be on in a few minutes. So I'm going to give you guys a short break and then we'll go from there. All right. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you guys later.